I'm at my father's funeral right now. I told you about it earlier. That doesn't matter to me. I can't even imagine taking a 20-day vacation with the kind of responsibility you have at your job. There's a lot more going on than you'd think. You must have no sense of decency. What even is common sense? Is it common sense to call someone at a funeral and yell at them? You tell me you'll come to work tomorrow. If you understand, say yes. Well, I'm Emily Wilson, 47 years old. I've been living with my husband, and I work part-time at a diner for the last 3 years, just to help pay for my 2 kids' college tuition. Even though we've been living together for years now, I still can't get used to the silence in the house. I'm loud and restless by nature, but the house feels like a library. My sons are out on their own now, and my husband Ben is a professor, so he's quiet by default. He doesn't express emotions much, and he's always conserving his energy. He's always in low-power mode. Honestly, greetings are a waste of time for him. He doesn't even respond when I say something. I can't even remember the last time he answered me. When we first got married, I was desperate to explain to him how important it was to have conversations as a couple. I was lonely, but now I've given up on that. I don't annoy him. I've just made peace with quiet. Still, when I'm out there socializing, I try so hard to make a good impression, but when I get back to the quiet house, I end up talking to myself while I cook. Lately, I've been complaining about work. Ben's usually sitting in the living room watching TV or reading, and it doesn't even matter if he's listening or not. Anyway, today I'm in Chicago, and I'm heading to my shift at the diner. It's supposed to be my day off, but the store manager keeps calling, asking me to come in because someone called out sick. I kindly accept the request, but working continuously is exhausting. But when things get tough, we both get sick and take time off. I went to work without thinking about it, and was changing clothes in the locker room at my part-time job when the manager came to talk to me. Emily, you come here early. What's up? A customer spilled juice all over the floor, so come and clean it up quickly. I haven't checked in yet. Don't worry about it. Just get out there fast. The manager hands me a mop and a rag and tells me to clean the rest of the mess. When did I become the cleaning staff? You're in charge of this stuff now, didn't you know? I decided when I became the manager. Are you serious right now? The manager has been in the restaurant industry for years, but lately, she's been acting superior. Before, the others used to work alongside her when she was a part-timer, but when she got promoted at 55, her attitude dropped. She's been looking down on the rest of the staff ever since. Just last month, she bullied the former manager, a sweet young guy, until he finally quit. Everyone at the restaurant was shocked. It's not the first time she's done something like this, throwing insults and bullying anyone she doesn't like. But nobody thought she'd manage to push the last manager out of his job. She even convinced the owner, who had no idea what was going on, to put her in charge, and just like that, she was promoted to manager. I shake when I think how proud she was of herself after that. How can you be so full of yourself when you've driven out someone like that? That's not how adults should act. It's a waste of time to deal with someone like her. That night, I tried to negotiate with the manager to let me take tomorrow off instead of today, but the manager shut me down. It seemed like there were enough people scheduled for tomorrow. I'm planning to take tomorrow off. Are you? She just took off yesterday. Why is she taking off instead of me, who worked today and yesterday? I can't believe it. You don't have any common sense, do you? You would like that because you were just a junior high school graduate. I didn't finish high school because of my health, but I went back and got my GED, and I even went to college. How many times do I have to explain that to her? You only care about yourself. You don't care what happens to the store. Those are my words. I don't know, but I don't want to take the day off by arguing with you. Okay, just forget it. Yes, I will forget about it. Don't bring it up in the first place. And she continued complaining. The next time I'm asked to be replaced, I'll never do it. That night, my father's condition took a sudden turn for the worse, and I called the store manager on her cell phone. I apologize to you. You really have no sense of decency. What time do you think it is? The clock said 9 p.m. I don't think it's that late, but I'm sorry. There's something really important I need to ask you. I need to take tomorrow off from my part-time job. That's exactly what I expected, but I kept talking. It's my father's funeral, and I need to attend. No, absolutely not. Which should be prioritized, your father who's no longer in this world, or the customers who are still alive? No, that's impossible. Impossible to understand. Unable to understand. Impossible. Please listen. Take some responsibility. Hold on and go to work. The phone was cut off, and I was left dumbfounded. What was this person really doing to me? Why wasn't she listening to me? I really needed to take a break, but anger rose from the bottom of my stomach. I called again, but of course, she didn't answer. A few days later, my father's funeral proceeded with many people coming to celebrate the life of my cheerful and sociable father. As the eldest daughter, I was so busy I didn't have time to feel sad. I had so many things to do that I felt like I was going to have a headache. But my 2 sons and my husband Ben were there to support me. I was thankful they all loved my father. The only unfortunate thing was that the phone kept ringing from the store manager, who didn't seem to understand the situation. No matter what anyone said, it was only natural for me to see off my father. During the funeral, one of the top staff members called me. I had to take the call right away. It was from someone at work, but I didn't recognize the number. I wondered what could be so urgent that I needed to take care of it right then and there. I slipped out of the venue and hurried to answer the call. I didn't know what to expect, but it was the store manager with the same voice and attitude as always. She had tried to trick me, but because of the unknown number, it took me by surprise. The voice on the other end of the line wasn't someone I could just brush off. I felt like I was being deceived, tricked by a manager who pretended to be kind, but was really just cowardly. She asked me, "Why are you taking time off without permission? I spilled water on the floor. It's your job to clean it up, right? That's all you have to do." I felt so nervous that I could hardly hold the phone. It felt like a losing battle. I couldn't believe I was getting this kind of call during my father's funeral. Did they really expect me to go clean the floor? Was that my responsibility right now? I tried to listen, but the yelling from the store manager was so loud, I could hardly think straight. Just as I was about to reply, my husband took the phone from me. "Just come tomorrow. Do you understand?" When I got it, and I almost responded, my husband cut off the store manager's abusive words and hung up the phone. "I apologize for the inconvenience, but please do not take calls from this person." It's been a long time since I've seen my husband speak in public. He doesn't usually express his feelings. Looking at my face, "How about quitting your job today? That's enough of that." He said that and went back to the funeral parlor. My husband, who had no opinion on me, was the first to say it, so I had something to do with him. Now that I think about it, my husband was always by my side whenever I was in a difficult situation. I feel like he was able to stop the person who was bothering me. When I was a student, I got involved with a senior who had taken off my feathers at a club drinking party. When I cried because I was being held back, and when an immoral salesman tried to barge into my house, my husband quickly came to my side and let me get carried away. The uneasy feeling in my heart began to lighten. I wonder what was holding me back. Well, I should quit. After a month, I found myself at a new workplace where I no longer have to deal with the stress of being complained about by the store manager and having to go to work continuously, and I felt lighter and healthier both physically and mentally. It's a comfortable place with all the kind people around, and I'm having fun every day. I'm finally gone from that place. I can't hear my husband's replies, but he gives me a small wave and waves me off. As soon as I walk out the front door, I scream, "Well, hello. You look like you've seen a monster." It's worse than a real monster. The store manager was standing there. "Why are you here?" "I looked up the address on your resume." "Isn't that right?" "What do you want?" The store manager, who I haven't seen in a month, seems a little upset. It seems like it was on purpose. "Smile and come closer to me." "It's terrible that you quit without saying a word. Ever since you left, there's been a shortage of people." I used to have to go to work every day, but now I'm gone. It's really hard, isn't it? I'm working as much as you are because the owner told me to. You feel sorry for me? I'm shaking my head. I don't understand what she means. Do I feel sorry for you? You forgot how you treated me. Why did you take 20 days off in the first place? You didn't ask me about it. It was my father's will. He told me to take a double weekend at his funeral. That's a lie. If you're tired of all these lies, then please don't listen to me. My eyebrows furrowed. When the store manager saw my face, she changed her attitude in a hurry. Well, I'll ask you to tell me about it later. I have a favor to ask you. Could you please come back to the store? Did you come to my house to tell me that? Do you really think I'd come back there? I guess they're in trouble because they don't have enough people to go this far. When I think about the remaining employees, I feel sorry, but that's a different matter. I cannot accept it. What? I'm sorry, but you just want to have fun. Well, that can't be true. If that's the case, everyone would quit. Seeing my calm attitude, the store manager changed her strategy. If you're okay with it, I can make you deputy store manager. Your salary will increase because you'll be given allowances to negotiate with the owner. I'll also let you create shifts. Shifts? That's your job, but don't get lost in the clutter and force yourself on me. I'm already working somewhere else. It's a violation of the contract to have multiple jobs. I don't have multiple jobs. I quit my job at the shop. So, there's no way you could quit without my permission. No, I asked permission from the owner. She rolled her eyes. I also asked permission about the double weekend for my father's funeral. What are you saying? It's my fault? It's only natural that you should report it to someone higher up and ask for advice. If the store manager won't listen, ask someone who will. Wait, did you tell the owner about that? Yes, I had no choice but to say that you couldn't do it or wouldn't work. I never thought you'd say that to the owner. Also, that's why he's been coming to watch me unannounced lately. I didn't know that. The store's manager's face turns bright red. You're the worst. Why do you do that? It seems like you're misunderstanding something by acting like you're betraying someone by taking a double weekend and then quitting. I quit that store and worked as an assistant at an affiliated store. I am the deputy manager of the store. I am grateful to the owner for his leadership. Unlike you, he takes the time to listen to me. After I had been treated poorly by you, the store manager nonstop. She didn't listen to me. She called me in the middle of a funeral with unreasonable demands. She yelled abuse at a lot of employees. She smoked in lockers that were supposed to be non-smoking whenever she had free time. She smoked cigarettes in the store's furniture. And she was taking the seasonings home. The owner listened to my story. He said he would think about her treatment. But I think he was simply monitoring the store manager and announced, You know what you've done? You think it's okay to destroy the title and the trust I've built as a store manager? Don't be so lazy about saying stupid things. No one feels trust in your store management. What are you trying to do? Are you mutual? If you want trust, you should be better than yourself. It's better to stop thinking that way. We all work together, and that's how I feel now that I'm the assistant store manager. Her face turns bright red with anger and surprise. Don't look down on me. I'm the store manager. At that moment, I feel someone's eyes on me and look behind me. When I turned around, I saw my husband standing at the front door with no expression on his face. Our long conversation with the manager could have been heard all the way into the house. But I wonder why he bothered to come out. The store manager noticed my husband. Hey, your wife? She's just a junior high school graduate, so she doesn't have any common sense. It's rude. If you don't respect your elders, you won't be able to function in society. My husband looked at the store manager for a moment, but then quickly looked away and ignored her. Even your husband has no common sense. It's normal for your husband to apologize to me, right? Such a rude husband. Why don't you say something? I am telling him so politely. Please stop. No. Don't. No. My husband, who had been silent, finally spoke up. First thing I want to say is that you have no common sense. First of all, why don't you greet me first and say your name? I don't even know who you are, but suddenly you demand an apology, and I feel like I've been robbed." The store manager was listening with her mouth open. "On the other hand, I wanted you to apologize to my wife for the long hours she had to work." "Don't make anyone feel like a bad person. She worked for the sake of the store. Hey, I mind being asked for my consent. Even though I agreed, I feel like it was mostly forced. It's not like you didn't know about the laws and regulations regarding working hours." "Of course I knew about it and made them do it." "That's even more problematic." "Well, how is that?" The store manager keeps rolling her eyes. My husband is calm. "Besides, it's impossible for my wife to be a high school graduate. We belong to the same club in college. So the more people have complexes about their academic background, the more likely they are to treat others badly. I'm bashing you. What about you?" "Why do I have to tell you what my final educational background is?" "That's fine. I'm not interested." So the store manager went crazy and seemed to have no words to respond to. I remember the person who once saved me from a difficult situation. Remembering my brave husband, I burst into tears and wondered, why did I come all the way around to your house to get to this? At that moment, the store manager's cell phone rang, and by chance, the person I saw on the screen was the owner. "Hello? No, of course I'm coming to work. I'm not late. I'm running a bit late, and it's not my fault. It's Emily's fault. Yes. No, wait. I'll go right away. I'm getting pale from the middle of the day. Things got worse." After the phone call ended, the store manager glared at me. "Do you know what will happen if you say any more strange things to the owner? Don't you understand? It's none of my business, but you might be in big trouble." "That's right. We have nothing to do with each other, so please don't say anything more to the owner." Then the store manager said this and left. "Okay, I won't say it again." "I've already reported it," so the other employees say. My husband returned to the house as if nothing had happened. I said thank you to his back. He raised his hand without looking back. He seemed a little tired, but he couldn't speak anymore. Apparently, we've been talking for about a year, so it can't be helped. Even I, who am a bit of a picky eater, end up being late. I started walking towards my new job. Even if I'm silent, information comes in when I'm working at an affiliated store. Naturally, the former store manager is a ghost. The new president, who will be working as a dismissal 1 employee, is apparently a cheerful man in his 40s with a strong sense of justice. It seems that she tried to win him over through some trickery, but of course he rejected it and has since been warned about it. No matter how you look at it, it's reckless. Her work was messy, and she was unserious, but now that she's been warned about it every day, she seems to have become much quieter. Of course, the system has changed, and she now has to do both the floor cleaning and the toilet cleaning equally. I'm really glad there are no more employees who feel like me. Now that I'm the deputy store manager, I want to take responsibility of the work. I can't say I trust you yet, but I want someone who can think about things from the standpoint of employees and customers. Now that I think about it, I haven't been able to talk about the reason for the 20-day holiday. My father's last will was last year. I want my father's ashes to be scattered at sea together with my mother. My father wants to sleep together with my mother in the blue sea, where we went on a trip when we were young. For this purpose, he also provided travel expenses for me, my husband, and 2 sons. I have no choice but to go to the Galapagos Islands, a place in South America that Charles Darwin, the British natural scientist known for the famous Synchylon, visited on the survey line Beagle. The transfer was complicated, and it took about 2 days just to get there. Even though we left immediately after my father's funeral, my family, who had little experience overseas, didn't know if we'd be able to scatter his ashes smoothly on the spot. When we talked to the owner, he asked us why. He was very excited. He said he loved traveling abroad and had always wanted to go to the Galapagos Islands. He recommended it to me and even booked a 10-day cruise for me. He also gave me 20 days off, including the funeral. On top of that, he asked me to be careful when I went there and told me kind words that a former store manager would have never said. However, the store's manager's phone call during the funeral made the decision to stop, and I ended up quitting. I made the decision, and I felt sorry for the owner who introduced me as an affiliated store. I didn't want anything to do with the former store manager, so I was very grateful to the owner. By the way, I was told in advance that it would be possible to scatter ashes in the Galapagos Islands, but the local guide refused, and I couldn't do it in the end. It's a lie, even though I've come this far. I can't negotiate because we don't speak the language. We couldn't just scatter the ashes without permission, but we had no choice but to give up. Mom and Dad, I'm sorry. When we returned to Japan, we had already informed him. He said that we could leave it to him. He immediately made another reservation for us when we asked him to do so. I boarded another plane and arrived at Catalina Island, California, in a sea called the Galapagos. The owner said that he's sure my parents would forgive me. The Galapagos was so close to me that we could safely scatter his ashes. My mother and father, who have picked up and connected with the sea that was created, will surely be smiling in heaven. After the funeral, our family will continue to travel overseas and domestically. It's an extraordinary, precious and memorable experience. I had a great experience. Someday when it's my turn, I'll write my third choice of travel destinations in my will. I was talking to myself in the kitchen as usual, and my husband laughed out loud. I wish he could always be like this. It's a secret that I swallowed those words as they came out of my mouth.